Hi guys, welcome back to another week of distance learning. I feel like a YouTuber saying welcome back to my channel every single time. All right, so let's look at the week of, if you guys can believe it, April 27th through May 1st already. So this week's weekly checklist looks like this. We're going to do no red ink, focusing on parallel structure. We're going to do the pre-planning for our narrative, and that's in our book on page 737 is where that starts. And then the third assignment is going to be to start the drafting process for our PBA, which is a narrative. So first thing we're going to look at is the no red ink. Your goal in finding parallel structure is looking for harmony in writing. There's no set rule that says grammatically it must be set up in a parallel structure, but the English language just sounds better when your sentence is set up in this way. So you're really looking for harmony. It just flows ever so nicely when your writing is in this parallel structure, okay? So let's take a look at the practice. So remember, it's just this one this time. The lesson is the same thing as this screenshot you guys have here. So we're actually going to do the practice, okay? So exciting. Let's just see what something wrong looks like so we can talk about it, okay? Remember, it'll come down here and it'll walk you through. Try a similar problem, and then we're going to get them right? So that's one. Hooray! Okay, so when it gets all the way through to the end, that's it. It's just that one. All right, so the other thing is assignment number 2, which is the pre-planning in your textbook. There's nothing to write on this slide. It's just in your book, okay? So the points that you're awarded on assignment 2 is purely on faith. I have to assume that you guys did the pages in your book to plan for your narrative, okay? So let's go there together. I'm going to go to page 736, and it says, write a narrative. You've read 2 short stories that address the topic of the end of the world. We read By the Waters of Babylon. And that was with that young boy, remember, and he ventured off and he realized that these godlike figures were in fact just people that had lived before him. And then we had There Will Come Soft Rains, and that was with that smart house where the inhabitants were long gone, and it continued to make things, specifically toast, and ended up burning itself down. And so we're going to think back to those stories and also what's currently happening in our world right now. I think that's such a perfect thing to incorporate into this. And we're going to write a narrative that answers the following question. After the end of the world, how do we begin again? Okay, so some other things that might get you thinking, some prompts here. I wrote some things down. What are you currently missing the most right now? What are you really eager to get back to? What do you hope changes after all of this? Do you think this has had an impact on your mental health? What do you find that you are more grateful for now? How have you been spending your time? What have you learned about yourself? What are some of your greatest fears? And what are some positive impacts that we've seen as a result? Okay, so just some things to kind of get your creative ideas flowing here. But remember that you have to have specific elements in order for it to be considered a narrative. It's any type of writing that tells a story, though. You can write it as a fictional piece, non-fictional, meaning you could really certainly use the current events that are happening in the world right now to kind of launch your story. It could be poetry or even a drama if that's the kind of style of writing that you really find yourself strong in. Go for it, okay? But you must introduce the characters and you must introduce the situation that they're going to face. It needs to be in a specific perspective, one point of view, okay? Either it's first person or you can have a godlike figure, totally up to you, but you have to have a point of view. The events and characters need to develop through the narrative through techniques like dialogue, pacing, and description. needs to be a smooth and logical sequence of events. You need to have precise words and phrases, descriptive details, and sensory language. And the ending needs to convey the significance of the story events. Think theme here, okay? So what are you supposed to learn from this story? Again, think of some of those prompts that I mentioned. So I'm on page 737 now. We're going to do the pre-writing and planning. So establish the situation. You need to establish the situation at the outset of your narrative to engage the reader. Okay? How are you going to introduce your characters? Who are they? When and where do the events that you're going to tell take place? What obstacle do your characters have to overcome to achieve their goal? And what will happen in the end? So you're going to write a quick sentence describing the situation. Where is this opening? Okay? Establish a point of view. Whose eyes are you going to be telling the story? And think of some details. Dialogue, pacing, description. On page 738, just do a quick outline. Okay? The exposition, the rising action, climax, falling action, resolution, plot chart. Okay? What is the story going to be? When you have all that down, again, your points are just awarded on faith. I have to assume that you guys have done it, and I'll know that you did it based on the draft that you have when you're completely done. So the third assignment for this week is to start to draft. Just starting. I don't expect you to be done this week. There's no possible way I could expect you guys to be done with an entire narrative and also plan it and also do the no writing this week. Just not feasible, okay? So I don't want you to panic when you see assignment 3, draft, okay? All next week, all 3 assignments are going to be to draft, okay? So really this week, just kind of plan out what the story is going to be, okay? So where we are actually going to start drafting, we are going to use No Red Ink. You guys have the Google Reports as a resource, but this really only tells you if you guys have plagiarized. It's a good tool if you want to make sure that your ideas are unique, but for narrative, doesn't really give us the feedback we need. Pearson, however, remember, if you guys copy and paste your information in, this does not save your work, but if you copy and paste your work in, it will give you immediate feedback and give you a rating on your work 1 through 6. And it'll give you some specific things that you guys could look at to enhance your writing. Then we are also going to use No Red Ink. This is new, but we're going to use the guided draft. Okay, since I'm not here with you, I'm hoping that this will give you guys the scaffolding and support that you guys need when you're not here with me to get that immediate feedback. Of course, you guys can still send me emails. You guys can still meet me on a Google Meet or schedule a one-on-one meet, but that way you guys have a little more instant feedback. We're going to use this. So the link to the actual guided writing is right here. It's also in Classroom. Okay, but now this is in this preview, it's specifically for argumentative essay, so keep that in mind. But you guys can type your title. When you get into introduction, it'll bring some stuff up over here on the left, and it'll tell you what the key parts of your introduction should be, what it should have. So if you can't quite remember what a hook is, when you click this, it'll remind you. If you guys need some more, you guys can see examples. You can even view tutorials when you type here. You can save and you can submit your essay all in No Red Ink. Okay? So again, the expectation is just that you start. The expectation is not that you finish this week. Okay? I wish I could tell you guys what the plan is for semester finals. We still haven't heard anything. When we know, you guys should know. Of course, here is your help page, and if you guys need anything, make sure you reach out through private message on Classroom, send me an email, Google Meet on Friday, or you guys can schedule a one-on-one, or even if you guys want to maybe make a small group of you for Google Meet, that's fine too. So I hope to hear from you guys very soon. Bye.